Hello, we're gonna start this monthly review of October with some clips from August because I like them a lot and I completely forgot to edit them into the monthly review of August. Actually, I would have had enough material for a separate monthly review of August if I had remembered that these clips existed. But here we are. Enjoy. Welcome to my first ever solo motorcycle camping trip. Last month at the end of July, when Frank was still with us, Frank and I went on a tiny motorcycle trip when Frank was gonna make his way down south back to the Netherlands. But I've never actually gone motorcycle camping by myself, and to be fair, my setup is subpar for it. It's not ideal. I'll talk you through that later. I've been riding for about 6 hours today, not non-stop, but I set off at about 11 and now it is about 5. And somehow I ended up just south of the cabin, which is 3 hours from where we live. So that'll tell you something about the incredibly inefficient mountain roads I have taken today, which, you know, doing the ride was part of the point. So I'm glad I did it this way. It was quite a lot of fun, and I've seen some excellent views and had some excellent curves to weave my motorcycle through. Now I have found myself a place to set up shop. For the first time ever, I'm gonna try having my tree tent set up on the ground with the ground conversion kit that you can get for it. See how that pans out. I'll let you know how it goes. But first, I am fucking starving. So I am currently heating up a bag of this, and I have made myself some coffee as well because my last cup of coffee was at 10 this morning. I'm also a bit shaky, so that probably translates to the iPhone and this footage. I'm shooting this with my front cam, and since I don't have a nice wide front cam, this is probably terrible, but we'll see. Setting that up took me probably an hour and a half, which I know seems absolutely ridiculous, especially considering how tiny it is. The ground sheet is pretty good, but some of the usability things about this whole thing have been, I want to say disappointing, because they're just frustrating to work with. Like the plastic screw-in pegs, they are the worst experience to deal with. And just in general, the way this rainfly has been sitting on top, not just with the ground conversion kit, but also when it's hanging from a tree, it's not great. So I think next time I'm gonna invest in some. First of all, I'm going to invest in some more real guy lines because these elastic thingies are a nuisance. I'm going to invest in some heavy-duty rock pegs so I can actually just hammer them into the ground. And I think next time I might want to try bringing an actual tarp and setting that up over it in one way or another. Because as much as it's standing now, and it is sort of in a place where I like it, I think I'm gonna have a pretty decent night of sleep in there. It's a nuisance. But all in all, I am pretty happy with my little setup here. It could all be substantially worse. The wind has sort of died down, which is truly delightful. It is not as chilly in it anymore as it was an hour or two ago. So, I've eaten, I've set up, I've parked my motorcycle and locked it. I'm gonna go for a little walk. There's a ski slope just behind me, so the views from there should be a bit better than this. The shrubbery I'm looking against. Yeah, also there's a massive mountain over there, which is really ominous and cool looking.
Good morning. I slept pretty well, but currently it is only about 8-9 degrees, which is fairly chilly, and my sleeping bag is nice and warm, so I don't really want to get out of bed and start backing up, let alone get back on the motorcycle, because I'm just on the edge of underdressed for the 12-degree high it's going to be today. So I think what I'm going to have to do is dress as well as I can with my raincoat on top to block as much wind as possible, even though it's not going to rain, hopefully, and just stop a lot to warm back up. But we'll see how that pans out.
And from one motorcycle adventure we go straight into another, although this one more appropriate to the monthly review of October because it was actually filmed in October. And also I haven't actually properly said the intro yet, so roll it.
Hello people of YouTube, and welcome to a sort of unexpected intro to the monthly review of October 2024. I didn't bring my camera on this motorcycle trip that I'm currently on, but I do kind of want to share where I've ended up because it is quiet, gorgeous, and amazing for camping, I think. And judging by the amount of tire tracks here, a lot of camping does happen, so you probably have to time it a bit better than going in the high season. But maybe next year, either in the pre-season or autumn next year, this would be a really great place to go camping together with Signe and Saga. But, you know, I'll show you around, and then I really need to get on with having a quick lunch, and not to be confused with the Norwegian chocolate bars called Quick Lunch, but an actual quick space lunch, and then get back on because I have about 2 hours to ride back home, and it is already about 3 o'clock, and it'll be dark by 6:30. So quick space lunch, and then ride pretty hard back. Not a bad day though.
Not a bad day though at all indeed, and that has us all caught up. We've done the motorcycle adventures and we've said hello. So we are ready to do the rest of October now. Starting with a visit from Liz and Oliver. They came up from Denmark, then rented a car at Gardermoen and came to stay with us for a week. During this week, Signe and I were both working, which is partly why they had rented their own car so that they could go off and do their own thing while we were doing work at home. And that is also the main reason I didn't really film anything of this week. But what I did film was a very cinematic, let's say, outing to Verdens Ende. Normally we go to Verdens Ende because the views are kind of spectacular. You can see kilometers upon kilometers into the ocean. But this time, as you can see, our experience was a little different. I very much liked the footage I got here though. We also had another house guest in October in the shape of a tiny dog called Ted. Ted is a Danish-Swedish farm dog who belongs to Signe's friend Elaine. And since Signe and I moved south, our two households have become sort of kennels for each other. When one of us is off for a week, we dump our dog at the other's house. So this time around, Ted came to hang out at our house, and because Ted is a bit of a menace, to put it lightly, instead of walking him and Saga properly a lot, we went to private dog parks a lot to spend an hour or two in a fenced-in area and just have the dogs run to their heart's content without bothering us or anyone else. There's one particularly gigantic and spectacular dog park like this in a place called Andebu, which is basically just a section of untouched forest behind a fence. And I think both Ted and Saga enjoyed their time in there very much. There's another dog park like this a bit closer to Tunsberg, although substantially smaller than the one in Andebu, which is basically an open field with a tiny bit of forest. Not quite as interesting for both us or the dogs, although as you can see, while it is foggy and sunsetty, kind of beautiful. But even though it's not quite as interesting because it is so close by, it's much more viable for us to go there every other day or so, which I'm pretty sure we did while Ted was here. October was also the month that Signe's cousin Hannah came home from her long summer job in Greece. Signe's aunt and uncle, so Hannah's parents, live on Nøtterøy, same as us. And because Hannah's having a bit of a hiatus between her long summer job and the job she'll start in January, she's staying with her parents, which means she's over at our house a lot. The clip you're seeing here is one of the first times she came to stay over for an evening, and Hannah also likes teaching Saga tricks that we haven't taught her ourselves. So that's what's happening here. And that is it for October 2024. November is going to be hectic as fuck. I'm saying is going to be, but as I'm recording this, it is December the 5th. So I know that it has been hectic as fuck. It's just the monthly review of it will be hectic as fuck, I think. We'll see. For now, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to push all the positive buttons down below. This perspective is ridiculous. And I will see you in the next one. Ciao.